Japan's School to Slave Pipeline by Dumanity. Okay, let's see this.
There's a common notion that, oh, school in Japan is just like an anime. There's a common notion that, oh, school in Japan is just like an anime. Fun classes and romance and rock bands. Wrong.
Okay, I won't lie. I did as used to believe that the way high school in anime is portrayed, that's the exact same way it is in real life or some shit. Holy crap, was I delusional as fuck?
They're nothing like that. Japan's school system is a pipeline that turns innocent, free-thinking children into obedient workers who will do anything for their
Wait, hold on. Isn't wait. This the whole pipe the whole way the Japanese school system works, where it's training children to be workers. Isn't that practically how it works everywhere? I mean, practically everywhere. In every country, the entire system is practically like training us to become workers. I mean, isn't isn't yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's not just in Japan where it's like that, but I mean, let's see what the video will say.
boss and company. Japan has one of the most extreme work cultures in the world, with many employees working over 12 hours a day. Every year in Japan, over 10,000 white-collar workers are sent to an early grave because of overwork. So to prepare students for this work culture, Japanese schools force students to endure brutal hours of work. In Japan, high school typically starts at 8:30 a.m. and ends at 3:30 p.m., so about 7 hours of school. But once school ends, students don't just go home. Many students are required to stay at school for mandatory club activities until 6 p.m. But they don't just go home after that. The majority of high schoolers have to attend cram school, called juku, to go through intense studying. Cram school lasts around 3 hours. This leaves them to go home at 9 p.m. Long day, right? Well, it's not.
Okay, that's a long ass day for a student, for someone who's going to school. Nigga, you are getting home at around 9 p.m. at night. Oh, god damn.
Not over yet, because Japanese students get several hours of homework every day. And if they didn't finish it at school, they have to do it at the end of the day. This leaves them working until late in the night, giving them very little free time. Now, why do Japanese students work so hard? Because if they don't, it could destroy their entire future. Japanese students who wish to secure a good job must take the national entrance exam at the end of high school, and this exam determines which college they go to. Japanese corporations hire employees largely based on which university they've attended, which means the national entrance exam determines the rest of a student's life. Japanese students learn very early on that work-life balance is a fairy tale concept that doesn't apply to them. And this is the mindset that leads them into the corporate world. Now, even though Japanese schools teach every student to endure hardship, that isn't their main goal. Their main goal is actually something far more sinister, and something that's far more valuable to the corporate world, which is pushing the mindset of conformity and collectivism onto students. You see, Japanese companies and employers care just as much about a worker's loyalty as their skills and abilities. Japanese companies want employees who will show absolute commitment to the company, and people who will value the company's success over their own well-being. Because of this, an individualistic mindset is a red flag for employers, as it's seen as something that can conflict with the company's goals. Rather than hiring those who stand out or have leadership skills, Japanese companies want to hire those who conform and act as a blank canvas for the company. To prepare students for this work culture, Japanese schools crush individualism and creativity very early on. Japanese schools have very strict dress codes, requiring students to wear school uniforms. And no, not the kawaii sailor uniforms. We're talking suit and tie with long skirts and pants. All Japanese students are required to have straight black hair dye, highlight.
Okay, like to some extent I can relate, because like practically all this is the same thing that happens in my country, all right? Because like even when I was in school, like there isn't a single, I don't think there's a single Zambian school that allows any type of dress code. They all have a specific uniform they want you to wear every time. And then they're also strict about hair. Your hair has to be short. You cannot have long hair as a dude. It has to be. You have to have a fucking buzz cut, nigga. You are going to be chopped. You are going to be chopped. It's inevitable. And then with girls, you can't braid your hair. Like it should just be natural. So it's either you have your hair natural, or you get cornrows as a girl. But like, yeah, so I can relate to some extent. Yeah. Brief intermission. If you're enjoying this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon by subscribing to this tier, where you get access to my commentary video scripts, my commentary videos unreleased thumbnails. You also get access to knowledge of the next commentary video. You also get a shout out at the end of all my videos, including my reactions like this one. And you also get a bonus custom wallpaper every month made by me. So yeah, that's awesome. And I'm not forcing you to, but like, if you're feeling generous, you can instead subscribe to this tier over here, where you get everything from the previous tier, and you also get access to all my art pieces. So yeah, it's awesome. And in advance, thank you, and I really appreciate you supporting me, because like you're slowly helping me get out of the trenches over here. And yeah, without any more delays, let's get back to the video.
Lights, perms, and curling are strictly prohibited. Some schools even force students with naturally brown hair to dye it black so they
Okay, that's taking it too far. That's taking it too far, bro.
won't stand out. Piercings, jewelry, nail polish, and makeup are also strictly prohibited.
Yeah, same thing over here.
And what these rules do is demonize self-expression and individualism.
Yeah.
Students are taught to not pursue their unique creative ideas, and instead conform to the rules and standards. Once students have adopted this way of thinking, they become much more valuable to the corporate world. In Japan, there's a common saying that goes like, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down, meaning those who stand out from the rest will be punished for it. And this idea of conformity is further instilled through Japan's school curriculum. Japanese schools do not teach critical thinking whatsoever. Their curriculum is based entirely around memorization. Students are constantly memorizing so they can score well on their standardized tests. And
I mean, okay, I think practically everything that David's going to go through in this video, I can totally relate. Because like most of this stuff is the same thing that we go through here in school and stuff. So yeah, because like even this, like especially with like final exams, like we have three major we have three grades that have like major exams. Like seventh grade's exam determines whether or not you go to eighth grade, because like eighth grade is the beginning of secondary school, right? Then after 8th grade, there's 9th grade. 9th grade also has a major exam, which determines whether or not you go to 10th grade, to the 10th grade, which is senior secondary school. And then there's the 12th grade exam. That's the last one. Like that's what determines what university you can go to. So something like that. So yeah, totally relate.
this leaves zero room for creativity. This style of education creates very controllable workers. But the pipeline isn't finished yet. Now that these high school students are stripped of their individuality and taught to endure grueling hours of work, it's time to actually prepare them for getting a job, which means going to university. But universities in Japan are nothing like the universities we have in the West, dictated by the senpai-kohai system. Senpai-kohai is the hierarchical relationship between a senpai, a person with more experience, and a kohai, a person with less experience. In this system, the kohai must show respect and obedience to the senpai. Now, the senpai-kohai system isn't unique to university and can be found in all areas of Japanese culture. But university is when it really starts to shape Japan's corporate mindset. In university clubs, underclassmen must perform menial tasks to respect the upperclassmen. For example, during drinking parties, underclassmen must pour drinks for their upperclassmen. Underclassmen are expected to do all the chores for club events. This directly simulates the corporate hierarchy they will eventually enter. Once students have become accustomed to this hierarchical system, it's now time to find a job. This is where Japan differs from most countries, because in most countries, students typically look for a job after they've graduated. But in Japan, students are expected to start looking for a job when they're still in their third year of college. This job hunting
Holy shit, what? What? But like, okay. That's some crazy stuff.
process is called shukatsu, and it's taken very seriously, almost like a ritual. Because for many, the job they secure during this shukatsu process could be the job they work for the rest of their lives. Their university stops being a place of learning. Now it has become a ground for corporate recruitment. Students must attend seminars to learn etiquette rules. They must learn 3 different types of bows, with each angle of bow having a different meaning. They must learn to knock 3 times on a door, or 2 knocks when checking on a restroom stall. They also have to learn how to sit in a chair the correct way. Failing to conform to these rules creates a bad image and could hurt their career. When showing up to an interview, students must dress correctly and formally, trying to stand out as little as possible by wearing a standard black suit that makes every applicant look identical.
Yeah, God, okay, this makes everyone look like a fucking NPC. Yeah, no room for creativity whatsoever.
They must spend hours preparing for interviews, memorizing the standard responses to potential questions. In this process, anyone who shows signs of leadership or individuality will not get hired. So what happens when this
God damn.
entire process is over? Once students have completed this pipeline and finally found a job? Well, now that these students have been shaped into the perfect, obedient, conforming workers, they can then enter a work culture that legitimately resembles slavery. You know that one circular prison design with the observation tower in the center? That's pretty much what work culture is like in Japan. Unlike Western offices that use cubicles to create privacy, Japanese offices are designed for total transparency. Desks are arranged in islands where workers sit side by side. This allows the manager to monitor every movement, screen, and conversation. This lack of privacy is intentional. It ensures that peer pressure acts as a constant motivator for productivity. This peer pressure is further amplified by social hierarchies. In Japan's corporate culture, hierarchies are everything. They dictate who speaks to who, whose decisions matter, and who must serve and obey. In meetings, lesser experienced employees are not allowed to speak unless given permission. And when they do speak, it's only to report facts, never to disagree or challenge anything that is said. The kohai is not allowed to just casually chat with their superior unless given permission to. Even worse, there's a rule in Japanese work culture that you cannot leave the office until your boss does. To leave before your boss
God damn. Seriously? Okay, that sucks. Like, what if... Dude, so you're telling me... you're telling me you always have to wait for your boss to leave first? Even if like he's leaving like late at night, nigga, you have to wait? What the fuck?
does is seen as very disrespectful and could end up with you losing your job. This leads to hours and hours of overtime, with employees often going home at 10 p.m. or later. You don't go home when your work is finished. You go home when your boss allows you to.
Holy shit. Okay, the work culture in Japan is crazy, bruh. Like, you can't go home. Like, you're telling me once I'm done with my work, I still need to wait. I still need to wait for that jackass I call my boss to leave, to allow me to leave. What the fuck? Oh shit, no.
And I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot like slavery to me.
Exactly.
You might be thinking, if a workplace is so toxic, then why doesn't a worker just quit their job and find a new one? Well, it's not that simple. First of all, workers have no idea how toxic a workplace will be before applying, so it's very difficult to know which job to apply to. But also remember the shukatsu process I mentioned earlier? It's a really long and stressful process that many Japanese workers do not want to repeat. And for many, finding a new job may not even be possible. Employers really care about
So they just decide to stay at their current jobs. Okay, that's kind of sad, I won't lie.
the loyalty of an employee. And if an applicant abandoned their previous company, it's a major red flag for employers. So quitting their job could mean being unemployed for a very long time. This leaves many workers trapped in their current jobs, unable to escape. Matsuri Takahashi was a 24-year-old employee working at a company called Dentsu. She became victim of constant power harassment from her superiors, with her boss verbally abusing her and forcing her to work overtime. At one point, she was clocking in 105 hours of overtime every month,
Holy
getting only
crap,
10
bro.
hours of sleep a week. She couldn't simply just quit her job because it would ruin her future. So on Christmas Day of 2015, she finally gave up. She jumped off her company building.
Oh, R.I.P. R.I.P.
It's quite obvious that Japan's toxic work culture is not sustainable. People are literally dying from it. So what does Japan need to do? Well, first of all, overtime needs to stop. Japan's government has set some strict laws against overtime work, but companies can easily get around these laws by faking employee work hours and reporting them as lower than they actually are. So Japan's government needs to hold investigations into these companies to ensure that employees are not being overworked. Second, Japan's corporate world needs to value innovation more. Having the same workers with the same mindset do the same things with zero creativity will not lead to much progress in the long run. Because of the government's indifference to this overwork problem, hundreds of thousands of Japanese people are choosing to drop out of it completely. They simply do not want to participate in this modern slavery. Around 1.5 million Gen Z and millennial individuals in Japan have become hikikimoris, meaning they have completely withdrawn from society, living with their parents and rarely going outside. Childbirth rates in Japan are also decreasing as people do not have time for children. Japan's population has already been plummeting and it's only going to get worse. So Japan's government should probably go and fix their toxic work culture. Japan's corporate system is terrible, but America's corporate system is also hot garbage. Our universities are ridiculously expensive, and barely anyone can get a job, which is why Gen Z is rejecting this system and turning to blue-collar work. I made a video about this topic.
Hey, W video. W video, Dumanity. Dumanity. Okay, that was zesty as fuck. Not gonna lie. But yeah, that was a good video. Wait. With Japan's like intense toxic work culture, what? I really feel bad for them because like, bro, I can't work twice as much as they do. They work a lot, cause like, it's crazy to me how, like, for example, Oda, the author of One Piece. Bro, he doesn't want to take a break. Like, ha! The dude has some insane work ethic. He never wants to take a break from his manga, even when he's sick. Like, dude, take a break. We'll understand. The fans will understand. I mean, we're not. I mean, there's some crazy fans out there that'll crash out because like One Piece is on a break, but like, dude, the guy needs a break from time to time. So like, yeah, it's crazy. Plus the way animators are overworked. I think I once saw an interview with animators from MAPPA, I think, after they animated like the final season of Attack on Titan. Yeah, dude, they were looking tired as fuck. It looked like they hadn't gotten sleep in like fucking months. But yeah. Japan needs to improve on that. But yeah, that's it for today. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Support me on Patreon. Link is in the description. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.